You've got these huge dreams, right? You can see yourself succeeding, you can picture that life you want. I mean, it's so clear it feels like you could almost touch it. But then, when it's time to actually do the work, you just freeze. You know exactly what you should be doing, but you don't do it. And that just leads to this awful, nagging guilt, because deep down, you know you're capable of so much more. If this is hitting a little too close to home, listen, you are definitely not alone. There's this whole group of us who feel this exact same way. Ambitious but lazy, overflowing with ideas but totally stuck in place. But here's a really good news. This isn't some personal failure. It's not a flaw in your character. This is all about psychology. And if something was built, well, it can be rewired. Okay, let's get into it. So, why do we get trapped in this super frustrating cycle? Well, it's not just one thing. It's actually a mix of what's happening inside your brain, a basic law of physics, and yeah, even the room you're sitting in right this second. Okay, so what you're looking at here is basically the civil war that's happening inside your head. You've got one part of your brain that wants to achieve amazing things. It's the dreamer, the goal setter. But then there's this other, much more primal part that just wants to avoid any kind of discomfort. It's screaming for safety, for ease, and for absolutely zero chance of failure. And right now, that comfort-seeking part is winning. Not because you're weak, but because our brains are literally hardwired to run from pain and sprint towards immediate pleasure. And this whole psychological battle gets a massive boost from a law of physics, inertia. Seriously, Newton's first law of motion applies just as much to your to-do list as it does to a planet in space. An object at rest, and yeah, that's you on the couch, wants to stay at rest. Just getting started on any task requires a real push of energy to overcome that powerful, lazy state. Let me tell you a quick story that just illustrates this perfectly. Picture feudal Japan. There was a young samurai named Yuki, and he had these grand epic dreams of becoming the greatest warrior in the entire land. He'd spend hours just reading stories and imagining his future victories. But here's the thing. When it came time to actually pick up his sword and train, Yuki always had an excuse. Oh, the weather is not quite right, or I just need to plan my strategy a bit more. Years went by, and Yuki's mind started to trick him. It began rewarding him for just dreaming about success, giving him that little dopamine hit as if he'd actually done something. His dreams became this cozy little trap, and his inaction, well, it became his downfall. So the takeaway here is pretty clear. Yuki's story is a huge warning sign. He realized way too late that his ambition, without the daily grind of actual action, had left him totally unprepared and just filled with regret. Dreams without doing? They're just fantasies. All right, so that's the problem laid bare. But how in the world do we fix it? Well, it all starts with rewiring those internal patterns in your brain. It's about changing the game from the inside out. You know, we have this whole thing completely backward. We sit around and wait to feel motivated before we start anything. It's like waiting for the perfect sunny day before you start a long journey. You could be waiting forever. The truth, the real secret, is that motivation isn't the cause of action. It's the result of it. And this shows you exactly how it works in the real world. You don't wait around for motivation to strike. No, you take one small, tiny, almost insignificant action. That small action starts to build a little momentum. And that momentum is what creates the feeling, the energy that we call motivation or inspiration. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. It's a total game changer when you realize this. This is exactly why we need to stop focusing on motivation and start focusing on discipline. And let's be really clear about this. Discipline is not some magic trait that you're either born with or you're not. It is a muscle. And just like any other muscle, you build it one small rep at a time. Every single time you choose to act despite that voice telling you not to. This old samurai principle just captures it perfectly. Your feelings, they're fleeting, they're unreliable. You can't build a life on, I feel like it. Your commitments, though, that's the foundation. Real strength isn't saying, I feel like doing this today. Real strength is saying, I'm going to do this whether I feel like it or not, because I made a commitment. Okay, so we've been working on the internal game. But honestly, that's only half the battle. Because it's not just about what's going on in your head. Your external world, the people you see, the places you're in, has a massive, massive impact on your ability to actually get things done. Let me ask you this. What if you're not actually lazy? What if you're just in the wrong room? See, laziness isn't always a personality trait. A lot of the time, it's an environmental problem. Who you choose to surround yourself with is one of the biggest predictors of your own success. It's huge. Now, check out this data, because it's wild. Studies show that if you just physically sit and you're a high performer at work, your own output goes up by 15%. But if you sit next to a toxic, underperforming person, your output drops by 30%. Think about that. The negativity is literally twice as powerful as the positivity. Those people don't just underperform, they actually infect you with it. And it's not just the people, it's your physical space too. Research from Princeton found that a messy desk creates something they call cortex overwhelm. Your brain is desperately trying to process all the junk around you, which makes you a staggering 45% less productive. A clean desk really does lead to a clear mind. And this is why this quote is so powerful. Taking control of your immediate physical space, your room, your desk, whatever, it's such a simple but profound way to start asserting your will on the world instead of just letting the world's chaos dictate terms to you.
Ultimately, this all boils down to one thing: systems. Successful people don't have some secret reserve of willpower that you don't. They just have better systems. They design their environment and their daily rituals to make the productive choice the easiest choice. They literally make it harder to get distracted than it is to focus.
So we've gone through the psychology, we've looked at the environment, now let's get super practical. How do you actually start? How do you break the cycle? It all comes down to one simple, incredibly powerful idea. This right here is the key to shattering inertia. Whatever that task is that you're dreading, just tell yourself you are only going to do it for 2 minutes. That is it. Anyone can do pretty much anything for 2 minutes. See, the goal isn't to finish the task. The goal is just to start. Look at these examples. The thought of writing a 5,000-word essay, it's completely paralyzing. The inertia is massive. But writing just 50 words, that's easy. The initial push you need is tiny. You don't feel like cleaning your entire room? Fine, just clean for the length of one song. What you're doing is lowering the stakes so much that it becomes almost impossible to say no. And that's really what this is all about, isn't it? We get so overwhelmed by the sheer size of our ambitions. We look all the way up to the top of the staircase and we just freeze. But you don't need to see the whole thing. All you need to do is focus on taking that one, first, small, totally manageable step. So I'm gonna leave you with this question. Forget about tomorrow or next week or next month. For now, stop learning and planning and just start doing. What is the one small thing, the one 2-minute action that you can take right now to move forward? That one little step, that's how you teach your brain that you're serious this time. And that is how everything begins to change.